between the protected classes that are set forth by your policies and or federal and state law, which includes such things as race, color, national origin, marital status, age, religion, disability. So the protected classes upon which an employer cannot discriminate, harass against.
Well, again, it's age, race,
Correct.
ethnicity, yeah, those kinds of things.
Those are the only protections.
So what, because it came up twice during the discussion, you know, we have this policy, and what the policy is relates to those protected classes, not particular individuals. Where we are lacking and what we need to respond to is behavior that's engaged by particular individuals that are indeed retaliatory or whatever, or bullying or that kind of thing. That's where we're trying to work to a policy or a process to work through those, right?
Yes, and for clarification, if a complaint is brought that I believe I'm being harassed or discriminated against one of the protected characteristics, many of which I did not name but fall within that type of category, then the county has an existing EEO policy in which it will follow the investigation. People will sometimes say, I'm being harassed, or I'm in a hostile work environment, I'm being subjected to discrimination. When you drill down into it, it feels that way because it's bullying or mistreatment, but it's not based on a protected class. And I think the discussion here is, what do we do with those complaints? Because even though they may not be illegal or a violation of the EEO policy, you're still left with a very real problem.
Right, and I think that's what the whole list, when we're giving a list of names, was showing that there was a real problem here that we really need to address.
And
And
Madam
right-
Chair, until this board last year enacted the Personnel Rules Manual, which had not been dusted off since the 80s, did we actually apply all the rules to elected officials? Because they were a protected class. They were exempted and taken out of every ordinance, every policy that this county had for good behavior, and this board said no. And this board put the electeds into the same class as the employees. They're treated as everything. We're running into the problem, of course, while we beat each other up here, the five of us. It's difficult to grab one of the 7 electeds and bring them up here. If there's, what do you do? I mean, okay, so, you know, I believe Mike Applegarth. I've known Mike Applegarth since he was a kid. I don't think there's one bit of guile on that man whatsoever. So for him to get up here and say what he said, it disturbs me, it makes me mad, but it also motivates me. That's a good young man. He's got kids, he's got a family. And you know, he just kind of put it all out in the line today, and I didn't know he was going to do that. I might have been with his wife and said, you know, Mike, best to, you know, duck. He's 37, 38 years old. He went to school with RJ. So part of what we need to establish is what type of system that this county government is going to employ when dealing with department heads who also happen to be elected. And I don't think we've ever reached that threshold yet. I mean, we just haven't. You know, elections theoretically take care of bad politicians, but a bad politician is not necessarily a good department head, or vice versa. A bad department head, a good politician. And so we, standing over this organization, the CAO kind of left out over there to the left, and then the way our charter is constructed, we have these 7 elected positions, and they kind of run outside of us, short of the budget. We're told we have little say in policy, we have little say in reporting. You know, our appointed department heads, once a year they come and or more frequent, they come and give us employment evaluations. We give them employment evaluations, and we talk to them. We get them more than one time out of the budget. But the elected department heads, you know, I can't tell you a time when we've sat in a closed session like we do with the other department heads and just talk about an evaluation. I don't think we've ever had such a thing.
You can't.
And, correct, you can't. The only tool this board has is the budget. So, you know, if you got a bad behavior over there in a department head, you know, so, oh great, let's defund the entire budget. Well, you know, you just can't do that, depending on what services they render, and then they have employees. So we have to develop a system. I don't know if censure is the correct word. I think that's probably the appropriate word. I think if some of the allegations Mr. Applegarth alleged are true, and the survey results show that it's true, then we need to do something. I'm not sure what it is, but I know we gotta act. And, you know, I'll just tell you, it's hard to act. It's hard to do the right thing. My son brought his kids up to me about 4 months ago. He said, Dad, I got to get my kids out of the environment. He was married for 14 years. And there was just a level of violence and neglect going on while he's away and he comes home.
Madam Chair, may I interject at this point?
I want to finish my story. So what I want to say is this. It was a hard decision to make the phone call. It was a hard decision to disrupt my son and his family. It was not easy. And so I think that's what we're here for, is to take all the information that we can and digest it, find a forum in which the government can act and we can act as a board, or policies we can put in place and put people in place that can give us a culture of you're never going to have the perfect people. I mean, right? But we can work as a culture and as the Board of Supervisors to make sure that there isn't anything bad going on when you really know. And I learned that lesson very privately. So I've heard enough. I'll listen to what you guys have. I have a motion basically what Terry has done here, but I'll listen to what the rest of the supervisors have to say before I make it.